Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be unboxing a parcel which has come all the way from England. Inside this box are about 14 different British locomotives, and I've really wanted to add more British locomotives to my collection for a while now, and I found this lot on eBay, and it seemed like it was exactly what I was looking for. So I opened it, everybody, and here it is. Now let's see what exactly it is I got. This is a parts lot, so I don't know what kind of condition they're all going to be in. My expectations are kind of low, but we might be lucky with a few of them. And there were a lot of classics in here, some steam engines, some diesels, which I just really thought would look cool on the layout. So anyways, let's open this thing up and see if there's anything good. Hopefully they didn't get damaged on the journey across the pond. Sharp my blade here so I hopefully don't cut into any of the engines. My goodness, I don't even know where to start. I guess we'll just open one of these up. I think it's probably one of the tenders. So there's our first item. Yeah, we got another tender. There, I believe, are an engine for each one too. I don't think they're all just miscellaneous tenders. At least I hope so. Let's see, what's this? We've got a shell for some type of locomotive. I should make it clear too, I'm certainly not an expert on British locomotives, so as I go through these, if you know anything about these engines, feel free to share it in the comments. I do appreciate learning about this kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure this right here though is an actual engine. Let's see what we've got. Princess of Victoria, and I think this is an old trying locomotive. It might just be a regular Hornby, I'm not entirely sure, because at one point they were turned into the same company. You know, Trying bought them out, but it looks to be in decent shape. As far as I can tell, no parts are missing. It's certainly gonna, I think, probably require a little bit of work, just judging by the buildup on the wheels, but overall, not a bad start. Let's see what else we've got. Why don't we pull out whatever's in here? This might just be another shell. Yes, so I believe there is the drive for this locomotive. Some sort of diesel electric. I think it's probably another Hornby. Hopefully we'll be able to get that one back together. There did look to be at least a couple in here, which I think are in decent shape. Another diesel electric shell. Kelly Warship class. This is also interesting. You don't see this kind of stuff out here, and you know, to pay the shipping to get it here, like, this was not a cheap lot, but you just don't find this kind of stuff out here, so it's kind of cool. Oh, almost lost the tender there. So here's another locomotive. I believe it is another Trying. Yep, it's a Trying Hornby, as you can see right there. Made in Great Britain, and that's 00, I think that's what it says up there. I can't entirely read it. But we've got the locomotive and tender, and by the looks of things, everything is here. This might be a diesel electric. Yes, this is one of the locomotives I've always wanted. This appears to be a Lima locomotive, but I remember seeing one of these in a YouTube video way back when. And it's just such a cool looking locomotive. I don't know anything about it, but these old Limas are pretty tough. They did sell them in North America, so I have encountered quite a few. I mean, you know, they're not the highest quality, but they're really easy to work on, and simplicity really has saved them over the years. So hopefully that will be a runner. I don't know, that's such a cool looking diesel. I love this shade of red too. Let's put that up there. I think we've got another tender for something here. Hopefully we'll find all the matching locomotives for these. And I think we've got another engine right here. I suspect, as usual... Oh no, this is an Airfix locomotive. I wasn't expecting that. And it's tender driven too. I've never owned a Airfix locomotive before. I think they were mostly known for making model airplanes. I wasn't aware they actually made powered models though, because I thought Airfix only made like dummy locomotives. So this is pretty interesting. But it's a gorgeous locomotive. One thing I really like about a lot of the British locomotives is the colors on them. You know, it's not that North American engines look bad. You know, all black engines are gorgeous as well, but it is nice to see something different once in a while. And this is probably just a tender, or maybe a shell. Yeah, it's a shell for some sort of shunter. British Railways. And this is another Hornby locomotive, made in Great Britain. Yes, so this is one of the engines which I wanted. At least I think it's an engine. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be powered. It's an old Triang. It's possible there's a powered unit in here with it, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so we'll have to see. It's obviously not in perfect condition either, unfortunately. I have no idea what this is. This is one of the parts for, I think, one of the engines, which was just a shell, and this might be the other bogie. No, it's another tender. All right, this is something that I thought looked pretty cool, GWER. And as usual, I think it's another Hornby. I think pretty much all of these are, but that Airfix was a surprise. Let's see, I think this is, yeah, yet another tender. We got two tenders here. Fantastic. I'm going to be really curious to see what out of all of these actually work, because they are in pretty rough condition, but the few Hornby Triang engines I do have been pretty reliable in the past, again, just due to them being very simple. I think we've got a steam engine here. Yeah. Princess of Elizabeth. Very nice. Yeah, and another steam engine. Queen of Maud. I bet I'm not pronouncing that right, but another beauty. Oh goodness, it looks like somebody custom painted this. I think it's die cast, just judging by the weight. I mean, it's not a perfectly done engine. Everything's very uneven, but I like it. This is a little odd. The motor's right there, and it's exposed, so I don't know what the story with all of that is, but it's an interesting engine. We got another locomotive. I guess this one is just a dummy. I don't know. Maybe it was powered at one point, but yeah, it's definitely not motorized now. Right here, we probably just got, yeah, another tender. And another one. I think that's pretty much all the tenders. Whatever this is, it feels pretty heavy. It's another powered drive for one of the locomotives. I wonder if this is for that shunter we looked at earlier. I'm not going to try to get that in there just right now, but I feel like that is about the right size. We'll see. Yes, so here's another one of the diesel electrics. This one looks to be in fairly rough condition. There are wires all over the place, and well, I mean, that's not great. Do not unscrew or lift side spring to release power bogie. Huh. All right. Well, that should make for a fun project. We're running out of room on the table here. Can't believe how many engines they packed into this little box. So here is one of the locomotives I really wanted. I've always wanted one of these. It's an Intercity 125, and basically when they were building a high-speed rail network, they developed this, and you know, they weren't as fast as like the TGVs of the time, but I believe at one point these were the fastest diesel electric engines out there, and I really like the design. It's super sharp. It's possible there's a second one in here. This one is not powered, although it does have gears on the wheels, which is interesting. So let's put that down there. And then I think that this one might be a powered counterpart. I hope it is. It'd be nice to have one of these in running order. Okay, so it is a powered model, but something is really messed up. I don't know how this even happened, but yeah, that's gonna need some work before we can use it. But yes, here it all is, an entire collection of British stock. I am so thrilled to finally have all of this. Now, why don't we set it all up by the track, and we'll test all of these locomotives out and see which ones will run. You know, there are no promises. The seller didn't claim any of them worked, but I feel like there's got to be at least one or two in here that might go. All right, well, I went ahead and laid out all the locomotives for testing. The two top layers you see right here are either just dummy locomotives or shells, so those are already a write-off. But as for everything else, you know, we might be lucky. Maybe there's a couple runners in here. I know this is a shell, but I think one of these two drives belongs to it, so we'll try to test that out. One thing I did find pretty strange, though, is that the seller seems to have included 5 extra tenders, and I really cannot figure out why. I tried to match a tender to every steam locomotive, and, you know, I'm not sure if I did it completely right, but in any case, there are more tenders than there are locomotives, so I just thought that that was kind of strange. Anyways, let's test some locomotives here. We'll start with the Princess Elizabeth. I really don't know what's going to happen here. You know, it's possible this engine will go. I find the old Hornby triangs are pretty reliable, but at the same time, this is a junk lot, so presumably somebody's already tested all of these and, you know, confirmed they're not in working order. I don't know. Let's give it some power. Oh, I just saw the wheels turn a little bit there. Oh, it's showing some potential. Let's crank up the volts a little bit here, and it's starting to move. I think this one just hasn't been running a long time. Yeah, it's starting to go. It's getting really close. Well, it's running really rough, but she is going. I am quite impressed with that. You know, I think this is just a case where this engine hasn't run in an extremely long period of time, and the commutator's probably just all gummed up as well as the wheels, but it's starting to pull through. I'm not going to force it to run anymore here, but I am impressed. Right out of the gates, we already seem to have a runner, so that is absolutely fantastic. Now, on to the next locomotive. So we'll get her all set up on the track here and give her 18 volts. Oh, just as before. Yeah, these things just haven't been running a while. Well, you can see it's really starting to pull through now. It's just about getting these locomotives going, because what happens is oxidization builds up on the commutators when these things have been sitting for a while. And just as long as you can get them moving, you know, they scrape a little bit of that off every time they rotate. So I'd basically at this point call this one a runner, but I'm not going to force it to run anymore because it is kind of hard on the motor, and ultimately what it needs is just to be taken apart, re-lubricated, and you know, go through with a fiberglass pencil and just clean off all the points. So yeah, that's terrific. We've basically got 2 runners right out of the gates. Hopefully we'll have the same luck with many more of these locomotives. We'll have to see. So again, this is just basically the same drive again. I'll just quickly shut the power off here. We got sparks at the wheels and high current draw, so this thing seems to have a short circuit, unfortunately. No idea what's going on there. I wouldn't be surprised if it's those front wheels or something like that causing a problem, but yeah, that one doesn't seem to want to go. Now we've got a diesel. I really have no idea if this one's going to start because the drive actually doesn't look too bad, but it's got wires sticking out of it, so I don't know if those are for a light or if those are supposed to go to the motor. I don't see any current draw, so it doesn't seem to be starting up. It does appear that those wires, you know, they definitely go to the motor. I'm not sure if they were originally meant for picking up power, again, powering a light, but let's try to connect the wires alone up to the track, and then that should tell us if the drive works. So I just played around with this thing a little bit. I just prodded the motor a little bit, and what I noticed is that if you just put a little piece of metal between those two contacts, the drive does start. So there's something missing inside here, but at least we know it runs, so that's terrific. You know, with a bit of work, I'm sure we can get this one running again, and maybe we could even wire in a light if that is where it's supposed to get power. I don't know. But that's that. Now on to the southern locomotive. I'm not even going to bother trying to put this tender on the track because the tires have all come off it. At least we've got all the parts. We could probably fix that up, but yeah, that's not so good. Then as for the locomotive, I think it's actually got a decent chance. I mean, the metal looks to be in really good shape. Let's have a look here. Oh, yes, we have got a runner. Look at her go. Okay, it seems to have derailed. Can we bring it back? Nope. Wow, no doubt. Well, that's fantastic. I think it's going to need a little bit of work. This seems to be causing some derailments, but the engine runs really well. Like, it didn't even hesitate there, so that's absolutely fantastic. Now on to the Intercity 125. I really hope this one starts. It's, I think, probably my favorite out of this lot, but before we try to test it, we're definitely going to need to fix that quickly because there's no way it's going to run like that. Just to be clear, if the motor or anything like that has a problem, I'm not going to be fixing it right now, but I just want to get this part back in place to give it a fair shake. I'm pretty sure this is how you dismantle the drive. I think this clip just comes out, and there we go. Oh boy, that doesn't look so good. Oh, the springs are popping out of the motor. Well, we'll try to get those back in place. I'm not going to do anything else to it, but again, I want to give this thing a fair shake here. You see how this side has a smaller kind of pocket than the other, so we know that this is how it is in fact supposed to be installed. Like so. All seems secure, so we'll just pop that back in place and really just hope for the best here. So given what we've just seen, I think the chances of this engine starting are probably not that likely, but at least we've given it a fair chance. So I'm now giving it some power. I do see current draw and the headlights are on. Oh, this thing went, uh-oh. That's not good. Oh, there's something burning in there. Okay, I think that's all we'll do for now. Yeah, it's smoking away. That's pretty bad. So this one's going to need a little bit of love before it can ride the rails once again, but hopefully the motor is still good. It did move just ever so slightly though, so there is a tiny bit of promise. I don't know. Something's clearly very off with it. But what can you do? Anyways, we got the Great Western Railways locomotive, as I believe it is. This one looks to be in really good shape, so I think it's got a very good chance of running. Let's give it some power and find out. Absolutely nothing, and we seem to have a short circuit. And there's smoke coming out of this one too, so yeah, I guess that one's not going to go. I don't know if the drive is seized or what the case is, but yeah, good grief. Next up, we've got this engine, and as I said, I'm pretty sure this drive belongs to it, so we'll put that on the track. Now, I think the way this drive works is that it actually needs another truck to work, so I'm going to grab a wire quickly, that way we can test it. So I found a wire here. We'll put some power in the track, and it picks up power from this side because the other side has traction tires on it. So we'll connect it up to this rail, and actually, it's already running on its own, but it's not moving. Okay then, so apparently the motor works, but well, there are no gears at all, so yeah, it's pretty clear as to why that's not working, but at least we have a good motor. We might be able to use that for parts, so that's good news, I guess. Next off, we've got this one. I don't know if this is North British Rail. I'm just guessing that's what it is, but in any case, this engine is probably in the worst condition of the bunch. There's like paint on the wheels. There's paint actually on the motor itself. If you look in there, it looks like it's on the commutator and other parts. So my guess is that somebody just bought this thing as a decoration for their mantelpiece. I don't think that anybody was actually trying to turn this into a working model. So it's not really meant to run, but we'll give it some power and see if it will do anything. I'm going to be very surprised if this thing starts, just given what it looks like, but let's try it out just for kicks. Yeah, this is off too. You can see the wheels are actually touching the front of the engine. Let's crank up the power here. I don't see any short circuits, so that's good. But yeah, unsurprisingly, the engine doesn't seem to be picking up power. Give it a little more. Shake it a little. It's possible this thing needs a lead connected to it, and I don't really trust that. Well, yeah, that's really messed up. So I'm going to grab that wire again and try to prod it. Alright, so I played around with the drive a little bit, and I wouldn't call the situation good, but what's surprising is that if you give it power and shake it around a little bit, the wheels will actually rotate, which, you know, considering that there's paint on the commutator and on the wheels, the fact that the motor is able to get any power is really nothing short of a miracle. So, you know, this is going to need a lot of work. I don't know if it's going to be possible to turn it back into a working locomotive, but there is some potential there. The motor is working and the drive is working to an extent, but yeah, I mean, just look at the drivers on that. They're so bent out of shape. It's definitely not capable of doing a full rotation. But still, there is potential there, so I am absolutely thrilled with that for what it is. Now, onto this thing. You know, I certainly can't make any promises that this thing is going to run, but the Limos are very simple locomotives, so I think it's got a good chance. Let's give it some power here. Uh-oh. Sounds like it's seized. Oh! Maybe not. It's trying to go. Come on. Yeah. Right back to life. It's not coming back. Well, the thing sounds terrible, but you know, it's definitely got plenty of life left in it. With a little bit of work, you know, some cosmetic work would be nice too. I think that this thing could ride the rails once again. Something's grinding in the gearbox, so that's no good. Anyways, on to our final powered locomotive, which is this thing right here, the Airfix, which is a tender-driven locomotive. I really have no clue what this thing is going to do. I've never worked on any Airfix locomotives before. I wasn't even aware they really made any, so this is going to be completely new for me. Let's make sure the power's off here. Everything looks to be in good shape. I suspect this engine is a few years newer than most of the other ones. That doesn't always mean that it's got a better chance of running. Not seeing anything. No current draw. Whoops. Yeah, that drive seems to be completely seized, so I don't know if it's an issue where it's just not getting power and there's some old lubricant in this thing, or if something else has gone very wrong, but I don't think that this one is going to run, unfortunately. Now, I know I mentioned earlier that I wanted to test this thing, but unfortunately I don't think we're going to get very far with it, because as you can see, the brushes are completely gone. Somebody's siphoned them away, so this is really not useful for anything but spare parts. Now, I did happen to notice that this has the same drive as this thing, or at least similar parts, so if we need parts for that, we might be able to salvage some stuff off of this. Or I could try to find some brushes that might work with this thing, because it's possible this belongs to one of those two shells right there. I'm not 100% sure, but we've got some different options with it. So anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. I'm overall happy with the lot. Some of these are in much worse condition than I was expecting, but you know what? You always take a bit of a gamble when you're buying a parts lot, and I knew that these were all going to be a project to some extent, and there's a few in here which I actually can't wait to get working on. So there's going to be some interesting content on the way involving a lot of these locomotives. But until then, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching.